Greetings, greetings, horror, sci-fi, and Jeff Nichols fans. Drew here from Horror, Sci-Fi, and Beyond. For the first official kind of sort of review of the year, with my two co-hosts, Eric and Jackson. How you guys doing?
Howdy,
Doing good.
y'all.
That's
Oh,
good,
there's
man.
no pomp and circumstance. There's no the man, the myth, the legend singing
None of
the
Oh,
that.
well,
Just
no,
that.
these two. Just these two jokers.
No, it's fine. We don't
yeah,
have
It's
well,
to
fine.
do that
It's
every
we're
okay.
time.
act- we're actually doing we're
First
actually
official
doing
episode
back to
back.
back. We're doing back to back episodes. So like,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
First off, we should never do these again. I feel like we've done this before and should have learned our lessons from it.
No, you two guys did it before. Like you did your extreme horror the same day we did Independence Day.
Yeah, what did we talk about? I don't remember.
I don't remember
I
the
don't
movie.
either. But we were pretty good
Climax.
about
It
keeping
was
it to. That's what it
climax.
was.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was climax. But we were also really good about keeping it to a tight hour on
Mhm.
both of those. We already went for a very long time on another episode, so
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. We'll try to
But this
keep
is
this.
more like doing our episodes with, I don't know, Reed or
Mhm.
MCU episodes.
Oh
Yeah,
my
it takes
gosh, yeah.
We're
forever.
gonna talk until we can't talk anymore.
Yeah.
And then we'll be like, it's fine. Movie's fine. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. But anyways, so we're doing the Midnight Special review, which is our official, unofficial father-son trilogy. Because as you know, I really
I
wanted
think
to
it's
do
pretty
last.
official at this point.
Yeah. Well,
You've said it, yeah, enough times.
I really wanted to do Last Crusade last year, and we did it.
Hmm.
And then Jackson says, "Hey, how about we do a whole father-son trilogy?" You said,
No. First, I just said, hey, we need to do Big Fish at some point.
"Okay, Mr. Tactical."
And you were like, oh, that's the next episode. Ah. And then and then I was like, well, let's let Eric pick one. And then we have a whole father son trilogy.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's like our
Uh,
Tornado trilogy in a
I
way.
also picked Asteroid City, by the way, and Drew nixed it. So we could be listening to
Yeah, I
that
wanted
right
to
now.
watch some other Wes Anderson movies before I
So
watched
now
that
we're
one.
so then we watched Midnight Special.
Yeah, and I have some mixed opinions about this movie.
That's okay.
It's
I think
fine.
we all do.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, I just want to remind everybody that the next episode is going to hopefully, if everything works out, of course, because you never know with scheduling. But hopefully, our next episode is going to be the first episode of me and Eric's, not Eric, me and Reed's Albert Hitchcock series. Um, an hour
Hmm.
on Hitchcock. And our first episode is going to be Rear Window. And I'm very
Okay.
Hmm.
excited for that because
So
I
I
feel like,
guess me and Eric need to finally do another extreme horror just to
yeah,
counteract your
Yeah.
programming.
yeah, exactly. Because here's the thing: it's like MCU look back is all three of our things. Like we don't invite
Hmm.
anybody else to that. And then
Hmm.
I want Alfred Hitchcock to be me and Reed's thing, and
Hmm.
then extreme horror can be you, Eric, and Emma's thing.
Hmm. You're more than welcome to come on Extreme Horror.
Now I'm going to. I wanna react to
See,
Audition, but
he's
you don't want to
invited
do it,
onto
Eric.
our show, but we're not
Yeah.
invited onto his show.
Yeah. I see how it goes. I see how it is. Mm.
If you want to be on there one day, maybe when we do Psycho, we can have the whole gang on there.
Why
Oh,
Psycho? I don't even
so
like
we
Psycho
can
that
go and
much.
shit on it.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Because you always sit on Rocky when we did our top five sports movies. Um, but anyways, I'm excited for that. That's to be really fun. That's to be a really
Okay.
fun
But
series.
meantime,
No,
we're
so
doing a
yeah,
midnight special, which Eric brought to us. So I think
Yes.
Eric should, you know, lead the way on this
yeah,
conversation. Well,
Sure.
obviously, you need to do like the whole intro and everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's cut to the plot summary for Midnight Special, according to the Internet Movie Database. A father and son go on the run, pursued by the government and a cult drawn to the child's powers. So basically, Stranger Things?
Before Stranger Things,
Yeah,
though,
before
really.
Stranger Things.
Oh, way. Yeah.
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 Police issued an Amber Alert for an 8-year-old boy. He was abducted from his home near El Dorado, Texas.
It's time. You ready?
Yeah.
Please call 911 with any information. We will keep you updated as we receive
Okay.
more.
What do you know about Alton Meyer?
I wouldn't know where to start. He would have fits.
Things would break. It was like a feeling.
Kind of feeling. We need to know where he is. You all have no clue what you're dealing with, do you?
Okay, before we get into it, I guess before we talk about the movie itself, how familiar are y'all with Nichols' other movies? Have you seen any of the other ones besides this one? He's only made like 7 movies, so it's not that much.
The only other one I seen was the Bike Riders
Mm,
because Emma James, frequent guest on this show, told me that they were gonna show the first trailer in front of that movie for Nosferatu.
mhm.
In front,
So you went and saw it because of the trailer?
yeah, and I pulled up in a minute and laughed after. No,
By the way,
I
awesome.
did
Watch
stay
the
for
movie.
That's a very like Meet Joe Black, Phantom Menace kind of story.
Yeah.
No, I actually did stay for the movie. It was all right. It was trying to be too much like Goodfellas, but it was good. It was
It's not
pretty good.
Goodfellas. It's actually probably his maybe his worst movie. The Bike
Yeah.
Riders is.
Tom Hardy was great.
I don't.
Okay,
That
whatever.
movie's a mess.
I'm not
The
gonna
movie's a
argue with
mess.
you. I already had my field day with you with Rocky, and I'm not gonna argue with you about.
Well, I mean, you could, but that's what this whole podcast is for arguing.
Okay, just continue, Jeff Nichols.
Okay, so
Okay.
Jeff Nichols.
Yeah.
Okay, so when did Shotgun
Yeah,
Stories?
okay. Well, now I will say, even though I haven't seen any of his other movies, I am sort of familiar with his style. I'll say that.
Okay.
Sorry.
Shotgun Stories was like 07, I think. 07 or 08,
Okay.
I can't remember.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Because okay, so this is when I was living in Nashville, and I was
Mhm.
spending a lot of time at the art house theater in Nashville called the Bell Court,
Mm.
and so I kept seeing trailers for Shotgun Stories,
Mhm.
and me being a Southern guy, and always being interested in kind of those kind of Southern Gothic stories, I was very intrigued.
Mhm.
And the movie came out, and I don't think I got to see it in the theater. I can't remember.
I definitely didn't see it in theaters when it came
think I
out.
saw
I
it.
definitely rented it on like I think
Yeah,
it was
but
on
I think I
VHS back
missed
then.
it, and then it came out. I can't remember. Anyway, I thought it was really good.
Mhm.
And then Take Shelter came out.
Mhm. That was the next
Yeah.
one. Yeah, it was like
And-
2011.
Yeah, same year as A Tree of Life,
Mhm.
another Texas independent
Jessica
filmmaker.
Chastain.
Yeah. And so same actress. And so Take Shelter was like kind of also ran to Tree of Life that year,
Mhm.
even though they're not similar in any way.
Mm-mm.
And then Mud came out. And I was like, okay, I'm kind of invested in Jeff Nichols at this point. And I like Matthew McConaughey. And I went to see it, and I was just like, I'm not sure this guy really has what I'm looking for. Clearly is talented,
Mm.
Mhm.
clearly has a lot of skill with actors, and he knows what he's doing as a filmmaker. But after Mud, I kind of checked out.
Yeah.
I had not seen any of his movies. What has he made since then? Midnight Special,
Loving. Yeah.
Um,
Bike
know.
Riders, and then he
is there
he
one
had
in
a
between?
no. Well, I don't know. I can't
Loving and the
remember now.
Bike Riders?
I don't think so. I think that because he hadn't made one in a real long time. He was
Yeah.
in like development hell for a very long time. They were going to
Okay.
remake Alien Nation, like the James
Yeah,
Caan
and
movie
he
from
was
the 90s,
also
and it fell
attached to
apart.
like A Quiet Place 3.
Yeah. And then he backed out of that last minute. Or
Yeah,
like
and
the
so
year before.
I kind of just like lost interest in Jeff
Mhm.
Nichols until you said, "Hey, let's do Midnight Special." Well, actually, I think Drew said that because he didn't want to do West Front City.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about Jeff Nichols.
I really like Take Shelter. I think it works for what it's trying to do for the most part, up until its like last 2 minutes, and then the movie is almost ruined by like that
Okay,
rug pull.
see, the last 2 minutes is what makes me like that movie.
Really? See,
Yeah.
I dislike the movie after that when it
Okay,
gets to that last
I've
two
had
minutes.
this debate before.
Yeah. No, I have too. I've gone back and forth with
We're
many
not talking
people.
about Take
We're going to
Shelter.
talk about Take Shelter here.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I would say if any of his movies, though, Take Shelter is the one that you should watch if you haven't seen any of the other ones. Like if
Okay.
you're curious about any of them, I would say watch Take Shelter. Or
See,
sorry,
I would say
I
Mud
want-
is the one to watch.
Okay.
really. I get bored by
I don't think
Mud.
it's great, but it's a good introduction to his thing.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
It's got a really charismatic Matthew McConaughey performance at the center.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
There's- Go ahead.
So I recently watched an episode, video on YouTube about Michael Shanon's best movies, and one of them
Mhm.
was Take Shelter,
Mhm.
and I thought it was when I heard about the movie originally, I thought it was gonna be your classic natural disaster movie. Didn't realize that it kind of goes into like the psyche of this guy who is kind of crazy. He
That's
thinks,
the whole movie.
it is not a natural disaster movie.
yeah, I'm like,
Not at
oh,
all.
I kind of want to watch this movie now because this sounds really interesting.
You should watch it for. There's a scene inside of I think it's like a after church dinner or after church lunch.
I know what you're
Or
talking
like
about.
a VFW kind of.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
great.
there's a storm coming. Ain't none of you are ready for it.
Yeah.
Well, and if seeing it
It's
out of
really
context
about
doesn't
the
do
way
anything.
Jessica Chastain reacts
Yeah.
Yes.
in that scene.
Mm.
You know.
And it's the build up to it too. Like without seeing all that, then it doesn't like that out of context means nothing. It's just someone
Yeah.
overacting almost. But
just the fact that I love if an actor like Nicolas Cage or Michael Shannon can really lock into that kind of acting,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm all about that shit. And
And
watching that scene on YouTube without context I really liked it, even though not knowing what the rest of the movie was about. Like I really
Mhm.
was impressed by his performance in that scene.
Michael Shannon's
And-
always really good. He's what kind of carries this movie for the most
well,
part.
that is unequivocally the best thing about Jeff Nichols as a filmmaker is that he uses Michael Shannon to the full potential of his ability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's especially for
That's
like a
his
character.
lasting mark on the film industry is
Kinda
he's
is.
the guy that made Michael Shannon a leading man.
Yeah.
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 Well, I'll tell you what
And
I
if
liked
that's
about
is that all you got, that's fine.
Yeah.
Jeff. Thanks,
yeah,
Jeff.
well, and I mentioned before that I'm familiar with Jeff Nichols' style. He seems like he's a very rural filmmaker, like very not like Southern, because obviously Bike Rider
Mhm.
take place in Chicago, but very kind of like down and gritty, like very like grounded. Because this is a
Yeah.
sci-fi movie, but
Yeah.
it's not like a Steven Spielberg like Super 8 kind of.
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah.
It tries to be
very
that way,
much a
so-
Steven Spielberg
Yeah.
movie.
Yes, but it's
It-
Jeff Nichols' version of that. It's more grounded.
Yeah, which is also
Yeah.
just kind of boring. Like it's
I
like
thought
a
it was
boring
okay. I
Spielberg.
thought it was an
Yeah,
interesting
see,
take
Eric
on
and
it.
I are in sync. We
Yeah.
are Justin Timberlake and whoever the other guy
Take no
in
time, bye bye bye.
No, this whole movie is very it's like Jeff Nichols trying to make a John Carpenter Spielberg movie. Like the first half is very John Carpenter, and then the second half is much more like Spielbergian, but it's an okay movie.
Really,
I like the
felt
first
whole
half of this movie.
I felt the whole movie felt very John Carpenter esque.
I
Like, I
mean,
don't-
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
yeah.
In a
Using
lot
it
of
as like a
ways,
catch-all. Yeah.
Well, in
But
a
yeah.
lot of ways,
right.
more in
Let's get into the deep dive because there is so much to unpack.
Well, I'm gonna. You mind if I finish my thought real quick?
No,
Well, screw you.
I mean I don't mind.
Okay. Oh, okay. I think in a lot of ways, John Carpenter was like the anti-Spielberg in a lot of
Sure.
ways. In some ways.
Sure. Okay.
Um, but anyways, let's get into the deep dive. Um, Holy shit! How do I talk about this movie? Because I thought it was gonna go one way, and
Yeah,
it
which way you mentioned that earlier? Which way did you think this was gonna
Uh,
go? Like when you
okay.
were watching it?
So-
What did you think this movie was about?
before I watched it, before I even like watched
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I knew it was some sort of sci-fi thing. Like
Okay.
very, like I said, like I joked on the top of this video, Stranger Things kind of thing, Spielberg. Um, I definitely got that throughout the movie. When they introduced the whole thing with the cult and their belief in like blind faith and
Okay.
my beliefs are better than your beliefs or whatever kind of
Sure.
thing. I thought that was going to play a bigger factor in the movie. I thought,
No.
Doesn't.
yeah,
Which
I
it
thought the head
probably
of the
should.
cult was going to
Means
be more of a
nothing.
presence in
Yeah.
the movie.
I, that is the
That's why I
worst.
don't
I mean,
like
that's yeah. The movie kind of falls apart because they do abandon that. Like, it's the most interesting part of like the beginning of the movie is that Sam Shepard stuff, and he just kind of disappears like as soon as they've kind of set it up.
Honestly, I know we haven't gone to favorite part and least favorite part yet, but that was my favorite part of the movie was Adam Driver
Shepard's
interviewing.
existence. Okay.
Yeah, well, Adam Driver just interviewing
Okay.
the members of this ranch.
See,
Like, I thought
that
was
means
interesting.
more to the story
Mm.
than any of the like cult stuff.
Who? What?
The Adam Driver, like government stuff.
Yeah.
That is way more meaningful to the story than any of the ranch stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously not as egregious as Lee Marnell's Wolfman, but you set up something kind of interesting and you don't really follow through with it. I did not like that.
Hmm.
And I like this
I kind of
setup in the
agree. I'm gonna be honest. I kind of agree with
I
you.
kind of
Jordan.
agree, but I feel like I feel like there's something else to be gleaned from that I haven't really gotten to yet.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
maybe we will. I don't know.
Well, at least they give us little sprinkles here and there of like
Yeah.
the cult. Because like they get followed by like Bill Camp's character and that other guy.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get to it.
And it's
I can
brought
tell
up
you.
every once in a while. But like the head of the cult,
Sure.
like he's just like out of existence. Like what the hell happened to him? They pulled a sour man on him. Like you introduced him and then you don't know what happened to him.
Hmm.
The
I mean,
guy
I will
watched
tell
the
you.
director's cut.
When we get to it later, I'll tell you what the big problem with the movie because I've seen it. This is like the second time I've seen it. And so I can tell you what the big problem is later on in the second act. I think the first act of this movie works pretty well of like slowly doling out information, sort of investing us in these characters, even though we come to find out that they're pretty thin as far as like characters go. Like they don't have a lot going on beneath the surface, but he does a good job of like building out that mystery in the first acts, which I think works really well. I don't know.
Yeah, all
What are y'all
that stuff I
thoughts on-
loved. I love that,
Yeah.
like the slow build up. It like we keep talking about this on this show, but like it's very economical. Like the way that Nichols like really reveals like different pieces of information throughout the movie. Especially like when you get introduced to like the head of this cult. Because I'm thinking, oh, is this guy like a business owner of some kind? Because he's like in his office. Or like did he like go to like a cartel or stuff? And then he walks out into this next room and it's like a congregation. I'm like, oh, he's a pastor. Okay.
Which is
kinda
really
cool.
weird is that they're just sitting out there like waiting on
Yeah,
him.
just waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's how church is.
That's true. You're right.
Yeah.
Doing
Mhm.
business in the back. Try to get this child slave they had going on.
Um,
I mean, when
Which-
I was a kid and went to church, like Southern Baptist, like really small town church,
Mhm.
like the pastor would sit in his office until it was time for the service.
Mhm.
Like we were all in the pews. He would
Mm.
come out and start the service. Like that's real.
right.
Yeah. I don't think this is a great movie, but there are so many like very real choices that
Mhm.
get made that I really love.
Well, another thing I liked about both this movie and Bike Riders is going back to the very kind of grounded kind of feel is he get a lot of actors that you believe are these characters.
Mm.
Like Michael Shannon and Joel Edgerton and whoever plays the cult, like the cult member or the cult leader.
Sam Shepard.
Yeah.
I said, yes, they feel like
One of the
they
greatest
belong.
American playwrights.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
Sam Shepard. Okay.
Give him one scene. That's enough.
yeah.
Cut him
But
out
like
of the
these
rest of the
guys
movie.
feel like they're like working class, everyday kind of guys. Like especially Michael Shannon, like that kind of all he plays. I mean, he plays other stuff. He plays like evil government people and like Shape of Water
He played
and like
Zod.
Kryptonian God.
He was an alien.
But I think, but he had that look. He had like that working class, middle America kind of look
Sure.
and like flair to him that I like.
Mhm.
Here's the weird thing about Michael Shannon and with me is back when I was like younger and skinnier and had less hair, everybody used to say I looked like him, and I never knew how to feel about that. Because like you think I look like Zod. You think I look like the guy from Shape of Water. What
Mhm.
is wrong with you? I don't know. Apparently, I look
I would
like
take it as a compliment.
I don't look like him anymore because
No.
I've got all this going on. But
Yeah, and I feel the same way about the different cult members that Driver interviews. And really, Driver's the only person in this movie that feels like sort of like an outsider. Like he feels like a guy from like the city, kind of like a city folk. As
he's my favorite character in the movie.
Yeah, he's good. He's really good. I don't normally like Adam Driver, but he's really good in this.
You don't like Adam Driver?
He's all right. Like everybody was
What?
making.
He's one of the best, most versatile actors of his generation.
I mean, he was
What is
making
wrong with you?
Dude, everybody was making a big deal about his performance in Black Klansman. That's a great movie.
Did you ever see
Yeah.
Girls?
He's not that
He's good in
memorable.
it.
He's not that memorable compared to Denzel's son.
Well, no, he's not supposed to be.
He's a supporting character.
Have you seen Marriage Story?
He's
Yeah.
good in that.
No, he's great in that.
He's good. I just
Have you
couldn't get
seen
into
The Last Jedi? Come on.
Okay, I like him as Kylo. Kylo's my boy.
Sorry, I had to bring up Last Jedi to silence the trolls.
Yeah, Last Jedi is good. I do
Rise
like
up
Last
against
Jedi.
us.
But no, yeah, I like how he's this guy that he just feels like a guy from the city. Yeah, I like that. And
Yeah.
you kind of I kind of convinced that he's this guy, that he's this government agent who's trying to figure this out.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, he's the Peter Coyote character from E.T., but
Yeah.
given way more screen time.
Way more
Yeah.
time. And honestly, they're given so much sort of like clunky exposition to kind of pull. They're given all the exposition to pile through. And he always finds a way to kind of make it interesting and compelling. Because like Michael Shannon and Joel Egerton's character with like the kid are like they don't hardly talk about anything. And so like all the exposition has to come from these two guys. And I think they do a pretty good job of just like making something boring.
Adam Driver doesn't have any of the exposition, really.
Yeah.
He's interviewing people
Mhm.
and like they're giving him exposition, but you give him the one big scene, like, in the first half of the movie is him just like circling numbers on the board.
Mhm.
And you don't know what he means. You don't know why he's come to this conclusion. Like, there's no exposition. Like, it's very minimalist.
No, yeah, the whole movie, what it really does have going for it is this sort of what you were saying, minimalist thing, but also just sort of in a bad movie like that, it would be a big thing where he's like, oh, this number here, and they would make all these connections and make it really big, and I solved it, But he's just almost like, I solved it, I figured it out. Yeah, it's what makes this movie work in a lot of ways. But it also kind of is what doesn't work about the movie by the very end. Like
Exactly.
there are a lot of, like you were saying earlier, there's a lot of great small moments, and by the end, it needed something big. I think I don't know, like
Yeah, I
This is a
agree.
nonsense
Well,
movie.
yeah,
this movie, it neither captured my imagination like a Spielberg movie, like
mm.
E.T. or Close Encounters, or scares the hell out of me, like a John Carpenter The Thing. It just I don't by the end of the movie I don't feel anything.
It does feel
Okay.
like a bit of a shrug by the
Yeah,
end,
it's like when I
but
watched E.T.
I
Like so
still
like that's
feel like we haven't gotten into the deep dive yet because
we
we
haven't
haven't
even done any
really
of it
talked
yet.
about
well I don't
anything
know
that
how to
happens in
I
the
don't know how to
movie.
talk about this movie.
I don't,
Well, I'm just confused about
that's the
that.
thing. I don't know either.
I
But
we could I could think I think it is, so are you asking for like a plot synopsis, or are you asking to
Well,
like
here's the thing,
unpack
Eric.
all
The
the
thing,
things that are
I
in
don't
it?
know. There's a way we talk about these movies on this show, and I feel like we're not doing it.
Yeah.
Maybe because we just recorded a whole other episode. Um,
here's the thing. Going back to the whole Spielberg versus John Carpenter thing. When I watched Close Encounters, I feel in awe. Like, I feel like, hey, I want to befriend aliens. When I watch the thing, I feel terrified. Like, no, fuck aliens. They're gonna come down here and they're gonna kill us and shapeshift into us. I don't have either feeling. I don't know how to, like, I don't know, man. It's just,
I don't know. I mean,
okay.
I do think
Then
this hits
how do
more.
we talk about this
I
movie?
don't
So
know, guys.
I think to me, and I had this epiphany watching it. To me, it's hard. I think probably for us to do it because we don't have children, and I think the only way this
Yeah.
movie works is if you have a child. Because the whole theme of the movie is allowing your child to grow up and go out into the world on their own, and that's what
Right.
that's what the whole movie means. But the most effective scene to me is the scene outside of the hotel room whenever we've lightened the situation. So like the kid's gonna die the whole time. They've been saying it over and over. The kid's dying, kid's dying.
Mm,
Turns out he's gonna be okay now. Like we take this like relief almost off the audience a bit.
mm,
Um, and then they get like tied down and like strapped and like they get shot and it gets real bloody all of a
mm,
sudden. It gets real for a second in a
Mhm.
way that the movie hadn't been before then. Like before he shoots a cop, but we don't know if he actually killed him or not and everything. Um, to me, that like that those moments in the movie work. And I think on an emotional level, those things work up until that point. I think after that, we lose something.
mm.
Um, so there's a point in the movie where it's supposed to be like Dark Knight of the Soul. It's supposed to be characters are at their lowest point, and they lose the kid. He's gone.
Yeah.
And then our characters do absolutely fucking nothing. They stand on the side of the road for like a whole scene, and then we cut away to Adam Driver's character, and then we come back, and they're still standing there on the side of the road, and they just happen to get the kid back. And so there's no emotional payoff at the end of the movie because they haven't earned anything. You know what I mean? There needed to be
Right.
some sort of like sacrifice or decision that happened at that point in the movie. And so I think that's why the end of the movie doesn't work.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and going back to like the cult not being there.
I don't even care about that at this
Yeah,
point.
well,
I'm
I
just saying,
want.
like, emotionally, it doesn't work for me by the
Yeah,
end.
like I almost feel like they needed more of that the cult side of it to kind of see the contrast between why did they need Alden, this kid, versus why Michael Shannon needs him.
I mean, I guess if you got back to which is the theme of the movie is that it's
Mm,
about parents, it's about taking care of a child and
mm,
everything. It's like a family that is your own versus a chosen family, which is what the cult would be a more interesting way of like angling that. But because that's not there, that doesn't, I mean, doesn't, can't
I
really even talk
honestly
about
think a
that.
better kind of thing that this movie could have done was that it did that conflict between this cult leader and Michael Shannon, and Alden stuck in the middle. He didn't know what he wants, from it with his abilities and this knowledge that he has or whatever. And
That's
then
a
he
different
kind of,
movie though.
yeah, well, then he
Like,
had to
Yeah.
come to his own conclusion of what I don't know. It's
but
just,
Alton isn't the main character of this movie, like Roy is.
yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's just, do you have any thoughts, Jackson?
Hmm. I had a lot of thoughts, and then they just kind of, yeah, they blew away in the wind. I don't know what to make of this movie. I do love that the the theme of this movie is about how when you're when you have children, and I don't have children, none of us do,
Hmm.
Mm,
but what I sense to be the case is when you have children, whether they are born to you or if you adopted them, however they came into your life, they're a stranger to
Hmm.
you. You don't really understand who they are.
mm,
I'm not sure it works the same way in the reverse. Like when you're a child and you're born to parents, when you're adopted, that's a different thing. But I don't feel like your parents are a stranger to you when you're born,
Hmm.
but you're a stranger to them
mm.
Hmm.
because they're already an adult.
Right. They live
They
life without children.
they've lived, whatever part of their life
Mm,
they've lived, and all of a sudden there you are, and you don't make any sense to them.
mm.
I don't make any sense to my parents. Do you make any sense to your parents? I
Not
don't
really.
know.
No, no.
Yeah. Um, but I don't know what that feels like from the other end. That's the problem
Mm,
Hmm.
with this movie. And I know that like Jeff Nichols was, a new dad when he started working on this movie. And so there's that whole thing. But I don't know. There's something about the unknowability of another person
mm.
that
Hmm.
really inspires me and also unsettles me.
Yeah, kind of going back to like the Ullman Damien kind of thing.
No,
No, because
no,
like,
not like that. Like in a normal way. Like the kid in this movie is not an evil child.
yeah,
He's
but
just
I'm
a
just
No.
child.
saying, like, you don't know what your child is gonna be like.
Well, yeah, but I mean that in a more basic, like banal way than that.
No,
Like,
I'm saying that's like the complete opposite of this.
okay.
Yeah, because the
Is it?
Omen thinks off the fact that like, holy shit, what if my child is a little demon? And
Mm.
Damien literally is a demon.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah.
And this movie is like, what if my child is a luminous being from
Yeah,
another
an
world?
angel, basically.
Luminous beings we are,
Hmm.
not this crude matter. Yeah.
That's a good Yoda.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
But no, yeah, that's some good points. I just wish the movie could have explored it a little bit better.
I think it
And maybe
does.
it could have been where Roy treats this kid like or he treats him like he lets him be free and to, you know, go about his full potential, where the cult wants him to be the savior of Judgment Day or whatever it is. Like, have him as like this commodity that they can bend to their will.
Yeah. Yeah, the cult thing, like that just pretty much is cut off, like off screen,
Mm,
basically.
Yeah. 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 No. Yeah. Like
Is a
halfway through the movie.
choice.
mm.
Yeah.
Like it's a very deliberate choice. I just don't know if it's a good choice. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm
It.
interested in religion and cults and all that stuff. So like was kind of disappointed where that what just kind of fell to the wayside. And I like the whole relationship between Roy and Lucas, and then whatever Kirsten Dunst's character name was called.
Sarah.
Yeah, Sarah.
There.
I liked all that stuff. Like that was pretty interesting.
I mean, it's Kirsten Dunst. She's always
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
Yeah.
I really love Joel Edgerton in this movie.
Yeah.
yeah. He's really good. I
He
forgot he was
has
British.
the most oh shit moment in the movie where, he's shot the state trooper. Of course, the
Mm,
trooper doesn't die. He's wearing a vest and everything. But like an hour later in the movie or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
Kirsten Dunst asked him like, "What do you do?" And he's like,
State
"I'm a
trooper.
state trooper."
Mm.
Like, whoa.
It's a
That
good. It's a great playoff. It's a good reveal on
it
that.
is excellent
Yeah.
screenwriting right there. Because you've seen him do all these things. He has
Mm.
night vision goggles. He knows how to
Mm-hmm.
hotwire a car, all that stuff. Like, and
This
then you get the reveal that he's a state trooper. Wow.
that is a good point because like it kind of like hints at like his backstory a little bit.
Yeah. But you don't even know his name
Mm.
until after
Mm-hmm.
the credits.
Yeah.
Really? I thought Michael Sanders
He
said his name a
says
couple
they
times.
say it a few times, but it's never like made a big
No, the
deal of.
first time you hear it is when they're about to crash into that car.
Right.
And Michael Shannon goes, Lucas. And
Right.
that's after all this stuff has already started.
Mm.
This movie, okay, I really like when a movie just sort of drops you into the middle of something.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the best things about this movie.
Yeah.
Like you have to sort of figure out what's going on. And I knew from the summary on, Apple or Amazon or whatever. Like I knew kind of what was going on, but I'd never seen a trailer. I
Mm.
didn't know
Mm.
who all was in this movie. I didn't know Adam Driver or Kirsten Dunst or any of those people. This movie does that really well,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
but then just kind of, I think it kind of whiffs it. Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
I like the beginning of the movie. I thought that was that was almost like a
The first
mini.
hour is
That's what I'm
strong.
talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The first hour is pretty
yeah,
great.
yeah. That one felt like a short movie onto itself.
Oh
Where
yeah.
like,
No,
you're
and I
hearing
think
like this news report of like this child abduction, while the person that did the abduction is watching this on the news, and then
mhm,
he had the child right there, and he says, it's time,
yeah.
and you don't know what the hell is going on. Like, did he did he have some ill will towards his character? Is this like a Dr. Brenner 11 type situation here? Like, what's going
Yeah.
on?
Right. No, the beginning of the movie does a really good job of piecing out information. And I think Nichols does a good job of this in all of his movies. Is like setting up a world, but only giving you like little bits of it as you go.
Hmm.
It's once you start like revealing some of like, or not even revealing some of like what's behind the curtain, like seeing the wizard maybe a little bit in the second half that you're kind of like, maybe this wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. I don't know. There are moments in this movie that are really strong, and work very well. But then like it's somewhere around the time the kid gets sick and like is coughing on the side of the road, and like Lucas is like, we got to do something for him. He's like dying, and then the kid's like, we got to go out here now. And so it
Yeah.
sets you up. It sets you up to think that something's going to happen to Lucas and Sarah, and that's why it's split up. And then nothing. They just go to a hotel, and then they just go stay in a cave for a night. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, but
It's somewhere around in there that like things just don't start clicking for me.
apparently, like, and they don't say this in the movie. Apparently, the kid's
Mhm.
powers have something to do with the sun, like Superman.
Oh yeah, no, and they apply that with like the Superman
But
comic, but
it's never really clear. Like, I don't
mhm.
know. I don't
that
know
is
if
the other.
I don't know if the opaqueness of this movie is a strength or a weakness. I don't know.
I think it is for the first hour, and then I think after that it gets fuzzy, and it doesn't get. It gets
Yeah,
frustratingly
because
fuzzy.
after the kid like awakens to who he is,
Yeah,
like he seems invincible.
yeah, yeah. There's no like struggle for him. He's just I can do whatever now. I can like
Yeah.
change these computer monitors to look like I'm just sitting there. Like this untapped potential that we had no idea what was there before.
Yeah,
Like
and
those visions
but
they talk about.
there's not really a struggle that leads to that. It's just,
Right.
oh, I have to go out in the sun.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
Well,
a whole like ecosystem forms around me
yeah.
and I can just do
And now I'm
anything.
okay.
Well, the thing about it is with the
Except get
horror
kidnapped.
movie, I'm almost kind of fine with it being a little bit ambiguous. it's kind of scarier that way. Like,
But it's not a horror movie.
no. I'm doing like another comparison with the
Okay.
sci-fi thing. With its archaic world and everything, it's kind of weird. You kind of want to explain stuff. You know what I mean?
I mean, I don't feel like
Not
you need to explain too much, but
right, but to the point where you kind of know how this world operates. So, for example, Stranger Things. Their science teacher explains the upside down or the possibility of parallel universes fantastically with the flea and the afterpack. That was that was the best way you can explain that. And of course now it's two different styles, but very
Sure,
similar
sure.
stories. But figured out a way to explain things a little bit better. Like and I felt like this kid's powers were very unlimited. Like, or I couldn't figure out what his powers all entail.
Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
that's a little fuzzy.
It gets pretty fuzzy in there. It's like, what do these people really see when he gives them
Mm.
their vision? You know what I mean? Like he looks into their eyes and it glows blue, and like they always describe it sort of the same way, like, or at least Joel Edgerton does. There's just like it looks like I couldn't even like they can't even fathom words for it, which is fine, but it's just like it's so vague, just in those generalities.
And
I don't know.
yet, like, if you were to ask Jeff Nichols about all this stuff, he would be like, that's not the point.
Yeah, of course.
Which, fair enough.
Yeah,
It's not the point, but at the end of the movie, I'm just like, well, what is the point? I
yeah,
don't know. The
yeah.
unknowability of your children, like, that's cool, but I don't feel like the movie really lands that plane in any
No,
way.
no, and really, like it's like the end of the movie is sort of like the end of E.T. If Elliot wasn't there, he was out causing a distraction. You know
It's
what I
more
mean?
like Close Encounters, but yeah.
Right. But yeah, but it's like basically your strongest emotional connection between like this father trying to care for his kid is completely removed from the process. You know what I mean? Which is a nice choice on paper, and like theoretically, it's like, oh, we're not doing that sentimental ending where we send someone off, and all that sort of stuff. But without it,
Yeah, because
I don't
like
really have
Michael
anything.
Shannon, he just like crashes his car
That's it.
and that's it. That's all you get. Like he has like the nod to the kid as the kid's
Hmm.
running through the woods. I don't know. I
And like, what was the
really,
purpose of this kid being here too? That's
I
the other
don't
thing.
know.
Don't know.
I don't
So
think that's the point either. But
no, right. But so that was another question too that I
Yeah, I
brought
just
up. So
wanted
like,
answers. I think the main thing I wanted from this movie was answers, and then more from the cult.
oh yeah. See,
Yeah.
I don't really care about the answers so much.
yeah.
Is I want the characters to be more clearly defined, and I don't
Mm.
feel like they were. Like Kirsten Dunst, for example, like she's the mother.
Hmm.
She ran away from the cult because they took her child. You don't know who she is as a person at any point in this movie.
Mm.
Hmm.
You get a little bit of Michael Shannon just because you spend more time with him, but
Yeah.
you don't really know who he is.
No, I mean, and he's pretty fairly one-dimensional for the most part. It's just a father who cares for his son. Like
I feel
that's
like you
that's
get
his whole
more
motivation
dimensions from Joel
from
Edgerton.
100%. And really,
Yeah.
the movie should have been about him. It's about because he
Mm.
is the
That
craziest
that's
arc.
see, that's the good rewrite right there.
Yes.
Like put it all from his point of view. You
Hmm.
know, the cult shows up every once in a while, the government shows up, but make the whole movie from
That
Joel
could have been
Edgerton's point of view.
interesting. That could have
Hmm.
been interesting because it seems like Michael Shannon knows a lot more about this kid.
Oh, he knows a lot. He
Yeah,
says
Yeah.
nothing.
yeah, and
Yes.
then so he's kind of like the Hermione character who has to explain things to Harry Potter,
Yeah.
which would be Joel Egerton.
But he doesn't really do that either.
He's just
Yeah,
like, yeah, he does that. Yeah, I don't know how this works. I don't
yeah,
know.
it's kind of like, oh, like we got this weird I kidnapped him from this cult, or we're running away from this cult with them, and we're gonna meet his mother. Just come with me, just go with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I think the movie is an interesting. I don't want to say misfire because there's enough good stuff in it that works. It's an interesting shrug. I don't know. It's a hard movie to describe. I like some of it. I like maybe like 45% of it. But then there's big chunks of it. And by the end, yeah. Emotionally, it doesn't do anything for me by the time the credits roll. You know
See,
what I
I
mean?
feel like I'm being really down on the movie, but I actually
Yeah.
liked it.
Mm.
Like, I didn't hate the fact that I watched it. And when we get to rating, you know, I'm gonna be pretty good on the movie. But there's just okay. Let me go back to Jeff Nichols.
Okay.
Jeff Nichols is the I'm trying to think of a good comparison. He's like the James Mangold of indie movies.
Okay.
Because Mangold works in studios.
Hmm.
He does big budget movies with big movie stars and all that stuff. And he is the most steady hand in Hollywood. Like he doesn't make bad movies. So Jeff Nichols, like
Except for Destiny.
take that down to like the A24 Neon, Plan B
Mm.
tier of that. He's the same thing.
Yeah.
He's not Bong Joon-ho
Mm.
out there making these visionary masterpieces. He's making these very workmanlike, solid movies
Hmm.
where I can't find any real fault in the movie,
Mm-mm.
but there's nothing in the movie that like lifts me up
Mm.
to that next level. He's not like
Hmm.
Terrence Malick or even even Spielberg or Christopher Nolan
Mm.
or you know Greta Gerwig. There's something just missing.
Well, that the thing about it is like Nolan is like one of the most self-serious mainstream popular directors. I get more emotion out of his fucking movies than this movie, being completely
Well, I
honest.
mean, a lot of Nolan's movies don't have much emotion at all,
That's what I'm
but
saying. That's what I was saying. And I felt the same way about the Bike Riders. I like the film
I haven't
craft of
seen
it.
that, so I don't know.
I liked a lot of the acting. What was I supposed to get out of it? You know what I mean?
No, yeah. I mean, and I think there's a really good scene in The Bike Riders with Michael Shannon. That's like at the centerpiece of the movie. That's really good, and the movie never really gets better than that. But that's The Bike Riders. Bike Riders isn't it maybe kind of. I don't really care. I don't like The Bike Riders. I like this movie for the most part. Um,
I like this movie.
it's just
I
not
know
like a
I
movie that I
seem
will like.
like I don't, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna like go out of my way to probably watch this movie a lot or
so
maybe
Eric,
ever again. I don't know.
I think the lesson to take from this is just be measured in your movie
mm,
intake. Like,
Hmm.
you know, you got a director you like, that's cool. Maybe they don't all work for you.
mm,
Maybe they do. I don't know. But
Yeah, but it's also like we do a lot of classics on this channel. We watch a lot of
yeah,
movies that are always on the cusp or it's the 35th anniversary of this movie
mm,
that's an important film for like the sci-fi or horror community or whatever
mm.
movies that have stood the test of time. It's nice to see things. It's nice to shake it up occasionally and watch something that people are doing now that may not quite live in infamy, but is 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 a different take on it. It's a different perspective, and I think you can always learn something from it, even if it's something you would do differently
Right.
that you don't quite
yeah.
agree with.
All right.
So,
So,
What does everybody think
oh,
about the ending of the movie?
I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it because I don't know what the hell is.
Drew, I was counting on you to have a take.
yeah,
Um, I get this kid is Superman and he's going back to his Krypton. I guess because of the Superman metaphor there. But I
I
feel like
mean,
it's better. I feel like the Superman
yeah,
metaphor or this version of the Superman story is a lot better in Somewhat Unbreakable and even the Iron Giant to a certain extent.
or Brightburn.
I haven't seen
mm.
Brightburn.
Oh, we should review
Ooh,
Brightburn.
that'd be a good
We
one.
should review Brightburn.
Oh my gosh, Drew.
Is it
Brightburn.
good?
No, but it's
No.
fun. It's
Okay.
really good, and we should definitely talk about it at some point on the show.
Ooh, maybe before the new Superman movie comes out. Remember, depending how
Yes,
we schedule
let's
things
do
out.
Brightburn. Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, we just gotta figure out scheduling because we got other episodes that we want to
No,
do.
but we have to do Brightburn before Superman comes
Okay. Okay, cool. Let me ask you this, Eric. But
Hmm.
actually, no, what? Let's finish your question. What do you think about the ending of the movie?
Uh, to me, the so if we're only going on what's in the movie and everything, it's not that our emotional stakes were never in the kid,
Mm,
and so him going away at the end is inevitable
mm,
because really it's Michael Shannon, and what we get with him is that he's in prison at the end. Sarah escapes. Joel Egerton goes to prison, but he's met by Adam Driver, which is implied that he's probably going to try to get him off or something like that.
mm.
I don't know. But the last shot we have of Michael Shannon is he's standing in the sun and he's having like a moment. Um, and there's a line he says earlier in the movie where he's like, um, the kid tells him like, "You don't have to worry about me anymore," and he's like, "That's not how it works." He's like, "I'm always gonna worry about you." And so like seeing the
Mm,
sun for me, like at the end of the movie, like it's like it's like saying the sun will always rise. It's like he's always going to worry about him, but knowing that the sun still rises, knowing that his kid is probably still out there, like that's the emotional climax for the movie, at least in
right.
my opinion. Is
Yeah.
it quite as satisfying? Probably not, but yeah.
Jackson.
Ah, I mean, it's it's just a ripoff of Close Encounters. Does it work? Yes. I really love the way the beings are represented
Hmm.
as kind of light in their eyes and their chest.
Mm.
You know, luminous beings we are, that sort of thing.
Yes.
I don't know. It's cheesy and it kind of works. And at the same time, I just don't really feel much at all.
Mm.
The line that made me feel the most in the movie is State Trooper.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
I just want to watch a whole movie about Joel Edgerton in this. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this, Eric.
Hmm.
Movie do you like more, this or Super 8? Like, what movie makes you more fulfilled by the end of it? That's a hard
I
one.
mean, neither movie. I don't know. I'm not crazy about Super 8, so I don't know. I mean, I think Super 8's probably a better movie overall.
Yeah, I can watch that any
But
time of day.
but I don't know. Like that was like like a $50 million movie. They made this for like $18 million. It's clearly just like Jeff Nichols' first like big movie with like a major
Mm,
studio, and it's as much as I feel like, again, like Jackson was saying, I feel like we've kind of poo-pooed on this movie a lot. But I do think that there's something for people out there making original movies,
mm,
making movies that aren't based
Yeah.
off of like other IP or aping someone else's style, sort of like J.J. Abrams just basically was doing Spielberg.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Where it's an allusion to it, but it's not like this
This
movie.
movie
This
is
movie,
clearly very personal. I just
mm,
sure,
don't know
that it
why it's
resonates. It resonates quite as well with me as it would with
mm,
someone
right.
else, probably. But
yeah,
as far as like someone out there making personal movies and like continuing to do it and being fairly successful at it, yeah, I will keep watching Jeff Nichols movies.
yeah. Honestly, I like Super
I
8
may not, yeah,
more. My problem
yeah.
with that was I think it needed to emphasize the whole theme of um somebody that looks bad or has done bad things aren't always you're better than the worst thing you ever done kind
You
of
talking about
mentality. And I
you
think
talking
they were
about
trying
Super
to,
8?
yeah, and
Oh, okay.
they were kind of leaning that direction with Elle Fanning's father and the
Hmm.
monster, but they didn't really quite get there. That was the only kind of frustrating thing about that movie. This
Oh
movie
yeah,
was a
no,
ton
yeah.
of frustrating things by in the middle of it, and it was leading up to something really cool. But yeah, by the middle of the movie, we're like the cult leader. Like I keep going back to that. Once he gets beelined, like I'm like, yeah, it's hard to get into this because that was some pretty
Mm.
interesting stuff there. What would you, Jackson? What movie do you like better between this and Super Hate?
This one.
Okay.
I do. Like, I actually like this movie. I have done nothing but neg it the whole time.
Uh,
But there's nothing wrong
Mm,
with this
mhm.
movie. It just doesn't reach the heights
mm,
that other movies of its kind have reached. Like, it's a good movie,
yeah.
but it's not a great movie.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
and that's about
That's
like
fine. Like,
that's fine.
nothing wrong with being a good movie. Like,
People make
most movies aren't even that. So,
yeah. Most movies are bad.
Yep. So I think before we get to our rating and score, I think Mr. Jackson has a little question for us.
yes. So we are, I guess, starting a new segment on this show called the Harperthetical. So I'm gonna ask a question every
Mm,
episode, based on the movie we've watched, to get a little bit of a peek into our psyches.
Mm.
So
mhm.
the question, the Harperthetical, if you will, for this movie is: if you were the lost child of an alien or interdimensional being, like in this movie, but from another movie, which one would you be from? I don't know how to word that in a good way,
Mhm.
but you know
Mhm.
what I mean.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah,
So I'm gonna go to Drew first.
I would be an Ewok
yeah. Okay.
because the Ewoks
Why?
are fucking awesome. They're probably my
Okay.
favorite alien race in all Star Wars. I just think they're so cool.
I
Okay.
mean,
Very
they're
like salt to
adorable.
the
Yeah.
yeah, very salt to the earth. And did one of those Ewok movies from the 80s ever do that concept? Because I think that would be pretty cool. Like a lost
What?
Ewok.
That there was a lost. Well, I don't know. I can't
Are you
remember.
talking
I
about
know that there
the
was lost
the Ewok
kids.
movies? No, they were
Yeah,
lost kids
kids.
with
Yeah.
the Ewoks, but the Ewoks were not lost. There
Yeah,
was an animated Ewok series that I
I never
remember
saw
seeing
that.
a couple times when I was a kid, but
yeah. Let's do the lost Ewok the
the
lost
Lost
Ewok of Star Wars
Ewok.
saga.
Yes, that's a great title, The
Yeah,
Lost
Pretty great.
it has to be like a survival movie, like a not
But
like
what
not
planet would the Ewok wind up on? Like
Mm-hmm.
Hoth,
Oh,
Tatooine?
I feel
yeah,
like he'd
but it'd
do
be kind of
well
like
on
Rainbow,
Hoth.
like a survival kind of movie.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
where would the Ewoks survive?
Mm.
I don't know.
Or
Well, because
struggle to survive.
technically the Ewoks are like the Viet Cong, or the
Yes.
yeah, because George Lucas even said.
No, he said that. Yes, this is canon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he said that if you look throughout history, the army with the least advanced technology are always going to be the more smarter and resourceful compared to the one with the more powerful technology.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, Eric,
Mm.
what alien race are you
Uh,
part?
so you posed this question an hour ago, and then I had a question immediately back because my first thing that
This
came
was
to
not an
mind.
hour ago. This was like 3 hours ago.
So 3 hours ago, when this first came to mind, my initial thought was, do you consider Ruby Rod from The Fifth Element an alien, or is it a humanoid?
It doesn't matter if it's a humanoid. It just can't come
Or a
from.
human? Well, is Ruby Rod from Earth? I don't know that answer for sure.
Well, then that's not your answer.
Oh, well. I mean, because that was going to be my answer, is that I would be the illegitimate child of Ruby Rod, and we'd go on adventures across the galaxy.
I don't think she's from any planet or anything. She is a singular being, so
Fair.
doesn't
Okay.
count.
Well, then I pick I'm gonna be the saucer from Nope. It's Lost Child out in the desert. And it's just a mama and a baby, and we are just cruising and gobbling up anything in sight. We're just having a grand old time out there.
Dude,
Ugh.
I'm so curious to
Until
see
that pesky
what.
girl on the motorcycle show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it took away my mom.
I
Now I'm
want to
out there in just a tiny
see.
little rain cloud waiting.
I want to see what that alien planet looks like, or what the world looks like, and how it operates. I'm so curious about that. Ever since I saw that movie.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is it an alien? Is it from
Right.
Earth? We don't
That is the
actually know.
question. That is the
Yeah.
question. It could
Could be
be
from the bottom of the sea because it's
Mhm.
kind of like an octopus,
Mm.
hmm
but it's
Especially once it
alive.
unfurls. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to see where it lives. That's all I want to see. I'm just
It was in the
fascinated by it.
sky with the clouds.
Yeah.
It had to move.
All right, Jackson, what about you?
I would be from ET's planet.
Mm.
Ooh,
Not
Wait.
based on the movie because you never see ET's planet,
based
but
on the
based
ride.
on the ride from Universal.
Mm.
Yes.
Because ET's planet seems like the most pleasant acid trip in the world.
Yes.
So I just want to live in that, like that happy, like colorful, trippy place for the rest of my life. Sounds great. Like they don't have wars. Like
No.
they just like, collect plants and
Wall around the chest
Bring
glow.
children
They're just
sometimes.
friends. Yeah.
it sounds cool. I'm all about plus the music plays all the time on that planet.
Mm.
You always get the John Williams score.
That's a good choice. That's a good choice. Dude, I think it's funny how like they removed E.T. saying your name at the end of that ride. Cause I guess too many kids were saying curse words. They're saying, "Thank you, fuckface, shitbag, asshole," or whatever.
I love it.
I don't know.
Um,
I've heard my name at the end of the ride in recent years, so
yeah.
yeah.
I haven't heard in recent years, but I rode it when I was a kid, and I was big enough to ride the bikes because there's two sections, right? If you're too small, you have to ride in like the spaceship, and then if you're big enough, you get to
Oh,
ride the bikes,
spaceship?
right?
No.
Yeah, there was at one point because I know when I was a
They
kid.
changed it then.
Okay. When I was a kid, my brother wasn't big enough to sit on the bikes to go around, so he had to sit in like a replica of like the ET spaceship that
Oh,
was
cool.
like completely encapsulated, and you kind of just look through glass like a like a
Okay,
creature.
they do not have that.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, they did. At
It's
one
all the
point.
bikes, and it's just like regular roller coaster type seats.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, that is still my
You can
favorite
sit
ride at Universal
6
Studios.
people, I think, on the bike car. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
That is still my favorite ride at Universal Studios. I freaking
Same.
love that ride.
if they tear it down, I will burn that park to the ground.
Yes, I will too.
And
I
I
will,
have
I
said
will
that
fly over
as an
Florida.
employee of Universal. I have told it to multiple people on that site. So
Mm.
if ET burns down, I'm gonna get blamed.
Yeah,
I don't know
well,
what you're
that's the
talking
thing
about. This
it.
episode will just disappear. No one will
Yeah.
ever know.
Well, they
You
got
know,
rid of
tracks.
Jaws in Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said they can't get rid of ET, man. Just don't do it. Please, just have one part of my childhood left at Universal Studios. You got rid of Jaws, which was a favorite of mine. You got rid of Back to the Future, and I didn't even have any heard of these movies when I first rode these rides. So it what got me interested in classic movies.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, E.T. kind of scared me. The ride queue scared the crap out of me because I didn't know what E.T. was.
Okay.
And it's my favorite ride queue of all time. I love the ride queue and E.T. But anyways, you guys ready to get the score?
We have to do favorite part, least favorite part.
Oh yeah, I didn't write that down.
Mm.
I'll just ring it. Jackson, what's your favorite part and least favorite part?
My favorite part is one line that Adam Driver speaks, which is often my favorite part of an Adam Driver movie. But in this movie, it's very simple. It's just the way he says, Can I Come With You?
Mm.
It's beautiful. Like Adam Driver has this ability to take a very banal line and just fill it with all this emotion. It's the same in The Last Jedi where he says, I'll destroy you and her and all of it. I don't know. Something about that way that
Mm.
guy can deliver a line. So, can I come with you?
Right.
It's so beautiful and so heartbreaking because they don't say he can. He
Mm-hmm.
has to he has to stop. Yeah.
Well, even in like the Fourth Awakens when he kills Han Solo after Han is trying to like get him to go to the light side of the Force and get rid of his anger, and then like Kylo just kills him and he just says thank you. Like, there's a lot of meaning behind that. Just him
Yeah.
saying thank you, because maybe that was the point where like he just wanted to get rid of that burden. Like get rid of his part, getting rid of part of his past.
He's the best actor of his generation, I think.
It's
I
really good.
really think he is. I
Yeah.
don't know. There's some competition,
Hmm.
but he's up there.
And then what's your least favorite part?
Least favorite part is just the general lack of oomph. It
Mm.
doesn't this movie has no oomph.
Mm.
It has a lot of stuff that's good,
Mm-hmm.
but it never goes to that next level. This is
Mm-hmm.
why Jeff
Mm-hmm.
Nichols is not Steven Spielberg,
Mm.
because Spielberg can just take it up.
Mm-hmm. It's like
Nichols,
blowing up the shark at the
Yeah,
end of
or
Jaws.
yeah, or he's not John Carpenter. Like he didn't make it, like he didn't have like a sense of dread or mystery
yeah, but I don't
as
think
well.
yeah, and I've never seen
Attitude.
Starman, which is apparently a big influence on this movie,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think
I've
of
never seen
John
it.
Carpenter in the vein of this movie. I mostly think of Close Encounters E.T.
Mm.
So, but it just never lifts. So
Mm.
that's my least favorite part. It's not a good least favorite part, but yeah.
Hmm.
What about you, Jack? I mean, Eric.
Uh, I mean, I'll say my least favorite part first. My least favorite part is that um uh when our characters are at their, when I said this earlier too, is this is that sort of dark night of the soul, is when the characters at their lowest point, they make no decision to do anything. And I think that sort of robs the movie of agency at that point,
Hmm.
because the kid just gets out on his own. I don't know. To me, everything after that feels like it's like we're slowing down versus like speeding up. Sort of like what there's no building at that point. It's like we build towards a simmer. Like we're at the point where like everything is lost. The kid's gone. We don't know where to do, and they don't do anything. And
Mm.
then the kid just shows back up again, like out of habit. Like it's very Deus Ex Machina. Like, but that's
Yeah.
my least favorite part of the movie. And the movie doesn't ever really recover after that. But
Yeah.
um, I mean, my favorite part's Joel Edgerton. Like, I think he's doing a lot with not a lot.
Mm.
And he's the most interesting characterization in the movie. I think Michael
Right.
Shannon's really good, and I think he's doing the best
Mm.
with that character. But he doesn't. There isn't a lot to go on there other than just like really cares for his son, and then he'll do anything for him, sort of thing. But like Joel Edgerton's like the harder role to play of this person on the outside, and I don't
Mm.
know. I think he does a really good job.
Right. Um, my favorite part of the movie is Driver interviewing the cult members.
Mm,
My least favorite part is there's not enough oomph to it.
mm,
And to use a recent example, like The Substance,
mm,
it's a sci-fi horror movie. Does a really good job of creating mystery and menace and paying that off in the end of that movie.
But that movie is a completely different beast than
Yeah, but
this
I'm just saying
movie.
to use the example of sci-fi. Like it clearly defines. Obviously, you talked about
Hmm.
some stuff that didn't really make sense in your stream horror episode. But no, like for the most part, that movie clearly defines the rules of the
Sure,
substance.
sure,
I
sure,
don't feel
sure.
like this movie really clearly defines the rules and how things work.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair
Yeah.
assessment.
And maybe Jeff Nichols, he wanted, like you said, because he had this kid, wanted to make a very metaphoric movie.
Oh, absolutely. I
Um,
guarantee that's exactly what he
and
wanted.
if you're a parent, you kind of get that metaphor. You kind of get what he's getting at
Sure.
to a certain extent. So,
Maybe. I don't know. We'll have to all right, let's bring on our special guest, a parent. What do you think
oh,
about this movie?
um,
That's not apparent.
no, anyways,
I
let's
mean,
get
it's
to
not apparent what we think of this movie.
But
Yeah, there we
what
go.
happened? What?
yeah.
I'm lost.
I was doing a pun.
Oh,
Okay.
my God, I'm lost. Okay. Anyways, um, let's do the score for this movie. And how our scoring system worked is we each take our individual scores, ranking it out of 5 for filmmaking and thematic. We combine those scores for a possible out of 10 overall score. We average out our overall score into the official horror, sci-fi, and beyond score. And I'll let you go first, Jackson. What is your filmmaking score?
3.5.
3.5 for filmmaking?
Yeah, I know that I spent the past hour just lambasting this movie for no good reason, but like it's good. It's good. Everything is good. It's shot on film.
Hmm.
Like the cinematography is beautiful. Like the performances are all great. The editing, that's okay. But it's not a bad movie.
Mm,
Like it's a good movie. It just is not a great movie.
okay.
Yeah.
And then what is your thematic score?
Oh, 3.5.
3.5.
Like there's something about the unknowability of people that really speaks to me. And I don't think this movie does it as well as some other movies do, but it's always a theme I'm gonna resonate with because Drew, I don't know who you are. Eric, I don't know who you are. Jackson, I don't know who you are either. I don't know who any of you people are. But the unknowability is something I'm always going to latch onto
Mm.
and try to figure out. So
Mm.
Right.
I'll be happy to watch this movie later on down the road, and maybe I'll understand it better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Life's eternal mysteries.
Yeah. So that means your overall score is a 7.
Yeah.
All right, Eric, what is your filmmaking score?
My filmmaking score is it's a 3. And it may have been the TV I watched it on. There was a few like night scenes that were just like I couldn't even like it was the scene wherever the kid and Roy go out and they go into the cave. And I'm just like, I can't even tell what I'm looking at. And maybe my TV was just too dark. I know that's a nitpicky thing to say, but there was just like points where I was just like it's too dark here. And so I knocked it down a bit, but like I would say 3, but it's all really well shot. Again, like Jack said, it's shot on film. I think Nichols shoots all of his movies on film.
He does.
And so it's, I really like the score, and that's really where I derive a lot of Carpenter influences from in this movie. It's got that sort of like it's this new agey sort of like bass beady score of like
Yeah, it's the early David Gordon Green guy.
yeah.
Did like George Washington,
Okay.
all those, yeah. So same guy.
I do love George Washington. See, that's the thing.
Yeah.
So like David Gordon Green and David Gordon Green and Jeff Nichols are
They're so similar.
similar in a lot of ways.
And they're friends. They're friends in
which
real
is-
life.
I think they went to the same school, didn't they, or something like that? Something crazy.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. I think I like. I don't know. I may like most of David Gordon Green's movies better, but I may not. I
Well,
don't know. There's
David
some of them I
Gordon Green
hate.
has
He's a
way more
weird.
movies.
Yeah, he also just makes a lot of weird choices. I feel like Jeff Nichols is at least more consistent with it, but
Yes.
3. This is 3. It's a solid 3. It's
Okay,
it's
what
a
about your
perfectly
thematic score?
good movie. It's 3.5. There's a lot to chew on in there. There's some good meaty themes, even though they may not resonate with me. I can at least recognize them and tell what he was like going for. Like Jackson was saying, we just talk so bad about this movie for the longest time, but I don't hate it. I think it's got a lot to offer. It's just it's just not. It wouldn't be the movie that I would go like, man, really want to see Midnight Special again right now.
I kind of love talking about those movies that you have mixed feelings about.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's way more fun than like just being all like glowing on a movie or being all down on a movie. Like, you just get to like parse out your feelings as you go.
Yeah.
And in the end, it's like, oh no, I liked it. Yeah.
You know what? I talked myself into it.
Right. So that means your overall score is a 6.5.
Yeah, that's about right.
You didn't give your score.
No, that's his overall score. That's not the official score.
Oh,
I haven't-
okay.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to mine yet. My filmmaking score is going to be a 3. Because I think it does some cool stuff in the beginning. It doesn't really follow through with a lot of stuff it sets up. Like I said, the magic score is going to be 3 for kind of the same reason, really.
So you gave it a 6?
Yeah, I give it a 6.
I thought you hated this movie. Like you gave it this like 6.
No, I didn't
Maybe
hate
we
the
talked-
movie. I just
We,
didn't.
we talked you into it.
I don't
one of
think
those
anybody
movies-
can hate this movie. Like, it's
Yeah.
not a hateable movie.
Yeah, it has some cool stuff in
It's
it.
not Amelia Perez or anything.
I still haven't seen that, but I hear it is
I haven't either,
polarizing.
but it sounds hateable.
Yes.
Yeah, I just don't know. It's like with the bike riders, I just don't know where this movie wants to do.
Mhm.
It has some interesting ideas. I just don't know
Mhm.
what the end goal is.
Hmm.
So, that means Jeff Nichols' Midnight Mass, the official score for that
Midnight Special,
is
not Midnight
6.5.
Mass.
Okay, let's start over.
That's Mike Flanagan.
Okay, shut up and let me do the freaking score, okay, Jackson? God.
Mike Flanagan's Midnight Special.
Shut up, Eric. We're all tired here. I just want to get through this video so I can go to sleep.
Okay.
I got stuff to do tomorrow morning. Okay. So the official horror sci-fi and beyond score for Jeff Nichols' Midnight Special is 6.5.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So guys, if you like this episode and you want to see more spooky and weird content, make sure you slash that subscribe button and follow us on Facebook and Spotify at Horror Sci-Fi and Beyond. Also, don't forget to leave this episode a killer comment and give it a King Kong size thumbs up. This has been Drew from Horror Sci-Fi and Beyond. Over and out, bye, and always remember to stay weird.